Hello and welcome to Chattercave Podcast, where we walk you through a movie, ramble on about stuff that has a 50% chance of not being related to the movie, and then giving our opinion on the movie in general. I'm your host, Drag King Thomas Hughes, and yes, that is a new intro, James.
It is new, because it's correct, because none of us...
I was just trying to work out how bad your 50% math was. It's pretty inaccurate.
I was say,
It has...
about 90% usually, isn't it? About
yeah,
99.9%.
Don't ask about what happens to the other 0.1% of bacteria.
Yeah, I thought it was there. My bad. My bad, mate.
But yeah.
If we cleaned the other 0.1% of bacteria, then how would we sell you more product?
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah, as usual, Hayden's here, aka Nicola.
I'm here as well.
And obviously,
James, I am James.
Oh yeah, I'm here too, hello. I don't sound like Ricky Brogue this time.
So we lost Connor and gained the James.
I mean, you were supposed to have me last time.
Peace let through.
I did, yep.
He died.
I know Connor.
I couldn't get out the ice.
So we'll just go back to our free setting. So today we are discussing How the Grinch Stole Christmas, released in 2000, and it's obviously based on the children's book by Dr. Seuss. He also serves as one of only two of his books that got the live action treatment, since Getting Out failed. Yeah.
On my opinion, I quite like Cat in the Hat.
It's not a bad movie. It's just obviously his wife saw it and was like, "Nope."
Dog shit, but Mike Myers.
Yeah, obviously Mike Myers is the best that carries that movie. He's the Jim Carrey of this movie. Except this actual movie was entirely good. Because it was actually directed by a great director that is Ron Howard.
Yeah. And I also think as well, like this one, it's got that Christmas treatment, so that makes it more of like appealing. It's got a nostalgic side to it. Whereas Cat in the Hat kind of traumatized kids. Pretty
much. I remember watching it on a bunk bed and getting really scared very easily. I kept looking underneath the bed.
I feel like there might be a reason why I don't remember Cat in the Hat.
James is traumatized. His PTSD is kicking in there. They're in the trees. They're in the trees. Yeah.
It is a freaky fucking film.
Ron Howard is obviously the mind behind Apollo 13, Willow, Backdraft, The Da Vinci Code, Rush, and Solo: A Star Wars Story. The movie stars the great Jim Carrey from classics such as Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, and Cable Guy. He most recently starred in the movie adaptation of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I was about to say, I actually know one of those films. I know two of those films.
I say, you know Mask and Sonic, don't you?
I know Mask, yes.
How do you not know Dumb and Dumber?
What about Dumb and Dumber 2? Should do it. That film is about you and Alex.
When you say you and Alex, you mean James and Alex or me and Alex?
James and Alex.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, I'll go
confusing.
confusing.
I have to jog my memory at some point.
Yeah, we'll sort some out, James. We'll watch them with you.
When I never appear on the Dragon King Studios channel level again, you know what.
The movie also stars Taylor Momsen from Spy Kids 2, Underdog.
I know that film.
And Gossip Girl. She would then pretty much give up, acting to go down a music path. The movie also stars Jeffrey Tambor from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. James gonna shout, I know that one.
Yeah, I do know that one. Yeah.
Paul. The Death of Stalin. Arrested Development, which was created by Ron Howard. And Hellboy and its sequel, The Golden Army. We also have Christine Baranski from Chicago, Mamma Mia, Into the Woods, and James gonna shout, I know that one, The Big Bang Theory.
I know Mamma Mia.
Oh, okay. Nerd.
It's like the new version of OK Boomer.
Next we have Bill Irwin from Sesame Street, Interstellar, and Legion. Next we have Molly Shannon from Scary Movie 4, Wet Hot American... What? Wet Hot American Summer, and Hotel Transylvania.
So it was like, don't forget Ron Howard's brother.
Yeah, and of course it wouldn't be a Ron Howard movie without, Clint Howard, his brother, who basically appeared in most of the ones I've named above. I'm pretty certain he may not have appeared in one. I'm not too sure about Da Vinci Code, but I know he appeared in Apollo 13, Backdraft, Solo. I don't know about, he's in half of his movies. It wouldn't be a Ron Howard movie like Clint Howard. But he was also in that Halloween movie we covered earlier in the year, Hayden. He was the Doctor. He was in Austin Powers Goldmember. He was also in the other two, but he's only smaller roles in them. He actually has a name for Goldmember. Not, guy that works computer or something like that. He was in the movie adaptation of the video game House of the Dead and the horror movie Ice Cream Man. Oh, and Sir Anthony Hopkins narrates the whole thing. Just thought I'd drop that in.
Why did you say you wasn't sure if that he appeared in?
Any of the ones I've named above. I don't know about Willow. I don't know if he was in Willow.
He was not in Willow.
Da Vinci Code?
If I can spell correctly. Doesn't look like it, no. He did not.
He may have been in one of the sequels, I'm not too sure. But Rush?
Rush?
I don't think he would have been in there. No, I didn't think so. Basically, he's in half of what I said above. So the movie focuses on the town of Who that are about to celebrate Christmas, while the naughty Grinch, who hates Christmas, tries to make an evil plan to ruin it and, make the Who's cry because he's the Grinch.
Again, just like last time, I sympathise with his character a lot. Sympathise, that's the word. I sympathise with his character because I too hate Christmas. I too hate people.
But, do you hate Pickle Rickmas?
It's different than Pickle Rick.
Okay, fair enough. Cue the title card.
The Grinch. Oh, somebody's fabulous!
We'll get straight into this. And the movie starts with a narration from Sir Anthony Hopkins doing his best David Attenborough impression. And here we see the mighty Who inside a snowflake.
Fucking Gemini.
Obviously, he narrates as he gives us an explanation of what we're seeing, the Who are, Christmas stuff. We see some guy, when we go to the street level, we see a guy playing a trombone, and inside the trombone is a little tiny man playing a trumpet, getting sucked back in. And obviously we then meet Lou Who, played by Bill Irwin, and his daughter Cindy Lou Who, played by Taylor Momsen. They're, doing Christmas shopping as you do at Christmas. There's all the queues and everything, trying to get rid of stuff. She's carrying all the presents for him. Yada, usual stuff. Slave labour, child slave labour. And obviously then cut up to the mountains where 4 teens are heading up to the side of the house of the Grinch. And as I pointed out when watching it, one of the teens is played by the guy who went on to play Donatello in the Michael Bay produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies.
You did, yes.
Yep.
And I was less impressed by your random facts than I was when I found out about the romance of the main characters from Dora. So random facts.
So they make it to the top, but freeze on the spot before a giant monster head bursts out this door and roars at them, causing them to run down the hill. The roar from the head,
God. Fall, same thing, really.
The roar from this head is actually revealed to be just the barking of Max the dog, who's using a megaphone just to bark, but it's somehow turned it into a massive roar. Don't question it. We didn't.
Logic.
We then cut inside and see the Grinch getting ready while complaining about the folks in the town. He then appears fully on camera, of course, played by the comedy genius that is Jim Carrey. And just a little fun fact here, I've got it right here. According to Rick Baker, the prosthetic makeup took 2 hours to apply and 1 hour to remove. And it basically pissed off Jim Carrey. But according to this, it is rumoured that Carrey felt so confined and uncomfortable in the latex skin that he sought counselling from a CIA agent who taught him torture-resistant techniques.
Yeah.
Well, that is...
Is that a fun fact for you there, James?
Oh, my fun fact quota has been surpassed, and blown out of the water. I love it.
Well, I got another fun fact for you, sir.
Oh yeah, go on.
According to the IMDb, Ron Howard was so thankful for Jim Carrey basically putting up with all the hours of makeup and whatnot that one day one day of filming, he actually decided to suit up himself as the Grinch and just walk around as the Grinch. And Carrie saw this and thought that he was getting recast. And thought, actually, believed it was a stunt double who looked nothing like him, and he got really angry over the fact, but he was just running Howard just trying to cheer him up. And it did not cheer him up at all.
To be fair, they did win an award in the end for best makeup.
Well,
so
sure, because the makeup was really good in this movie.
it was, yes.
She's going to have to be, for the fact that if it looked shit, then it would ruin the entire immersion of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Grinch tells Max to get his cloak as he's going to teach them all a lesson down in Whoville. Down in Whoville, I keep pointing town, but I'm going to say Whoville if I keep remembering. The Grinch appears rolling his nat 20 in stealth as he walks around with his cloak on and a monkey mask.
Right,
I like my I have to throw a D&D reference in every now and again.
You do, yes. It's you have a deal with Wizards of the Coast like I do with Kevin Spacey.
There we go. We got him, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
But yeah, it's very much the Payday 2 style infiltration of put the goofy glasses on and nobody knows
Pretty much.
that you're there to cause trouble.
There we go. So obviously he's causing mischief. He's breaking bikes by soaring them and going, "Oh, someone should be careful." And then he gives a kid a saw and says,
then handing the saw to children and
he's like,
telling
"Go on,
them to
run
run with it.
And he starts going 1, 2, 1, 2, send them to run. And obviously they run around because he's basically being a bad guy. In Hayden's case, you wouldn't see it that way, but
I think he was being quite reasonable. I mean, if you see a kid and they're not running around with a knife, you've got to give them a knife so they can hurt themselves and learn a lesson. And no, that is not why I got the kids taken away from me.
Obviously we then sorry, I lost my train of thought. Then I was turning my light down. That was it. We then cut to Cindy Lou, who questions her dad on why basically there's this much fuss for Christmas, before her brothers arrive and yell the Grinch out loud, causing the whole town to yell and go, "Oh, the Grinch, the Grinch!" And obviously the Grinch himself goes, "What? What do you want?" He's like, "Oh, I mean, the Grinch! Oh!" That was quite funny.
It was quite humorous, yes.
Obviously, everyone's sort of really panicking, and then the mayor has to come out, played by Jeffrey Tambor. He obviously pulls Lou aside and he's like, "Oh, your boys shouldn't be shouting that name out loud. Plus this year's an anniversary, so they've got to zip it a bit." And
if they're gonna do it, they should say it 3 times fast, spinning around in the mirror.
The Grinch, the Grinch, Grinch, Grinch. Oh, I didn't spin, sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, hey, Bloody Mary.
Oh, I've got a green beard.
Oh, Jim Carrey, hello.
But yeah, obviously we then meet his assistant at the same time, Hubris. I don't know, I'm really confused here. So I don't know if he, wants to be him or wants to be in him. I got really mixed messages from this guy.
I'm getting a mix of both.
Yeah, he's played by Clint Howard. We then cut to the post office where Lou and his staff work like any normal delivery service by throwing the parcels around to each other.
You stole my joke.
I know this from first-hand experience.
We all do. We've all. I mean, I know that you have better first-hand experience, but we've all experienced that delivery guy that reads Fragile and goes, "Yeah, I'll be fine."
I'm always throwing bikes around.
Ironically, it's a lot like Ace Ventura, the first scene.
Yes, I think I remember that.
Kicking the box around.
Yeah, and he lifts it up, and it's all shattered inside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And obviously we then cut to the Grinch in the back, causing more chaos by tampering with the mail. Jury duty. Blackmail.
Eviction.
We then cut back to Lou, who asks Cindy to do a favour and take the mail and the gifts in the back. So she reluctantly agrees, because she's her dad. She wants to do him a favour, and
because he's being called to the main desk because a mob of people are there.
But you know, he does warn her though before she goes in. Stay away from the sewing machine, because that will get you.
Because then you'll go to the Gryffindor.
Darn it!
What the hell is a Hufflepuff?
A non-important character.
It's Alex, isn't it?
Wait, who's less important, Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw?
Registered sex offenders.
You no one heard me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I heard sex offenders. What?
No, that was Hayden, not me.
Yeah, but that's all I heard.
I'm not repeating myself. It's not funny if I repeat myself.
Rule of 3, Thomas. Rule of 3. That's how long until it's unfunny.
You said Hufflepuff, and I said, "What is that, Alex?"
Oh.
Quiet, loud.
This is a Hufflepuff. I get it. Funny.
He's gonna kill me now.
Right? That was the joke, right?
Yeah. It's not funny when I have to repeat myself.
You see, Ravenclaw. I'm smart.
Right. Of course you are.
I didn't make it in.
James got this kicked out on the doorstep. Sorry, so there's no sex offenders allowed in here.
Oh man, wrong school.
Yeah, you just gotta go next door, mate.
Phil?
Oh yeah, back to this movie.
James go to pig farts instead.
While in the back scene, he strolls around, you know, with no Grinch in sight. But when she goes to leave after doing it, you know, her job, we see the Grinch Spider-Maning on the ceiling with Max. The two stay quiet until Max sneezes and the Grinch blesses him, which alerts Cindy to their presence, causing them all to scream, even the Grinch.
We've all seen it's the exact same TikTok audio. It's quite popular right now. Enter date here. Yeah, we've all know this bit.
And so, yeah, she ends up falling into the sorting machine, and this allows the Grinch to go and leave. But her cries for help cause Max to grab the cloak of the Grinch and pull until he agrees to save her. But you know he does. He turns around and pulls her out, and then complains at her for not being more careful. Like, what's the matter with you? And she starts thanking him. She's like, "Oh, thanks for saving my life." But yeah, this caused him to stop and scrape his fingers down the window on the door, which, you know, because he's been angered for the fact that she says, "Oh, you saved me."
Well, he didn't save her. He was just pulling her back up so that he could torment her more.
Well, he didn't want to save her, but Max bit his ass, so he's like, "Oh fuck it, fine, I'll save her." And then she said, "Thanks for saving me." He's like, "Well, can't have you thinking that I saved you." So he kidnaps her and wraps her in wrapping paper.
Yeah, it turns into a human-sized present. And, you know, it leaves her so he can run off. And then her dad arrives and, you know, he thinks she did it to herself. And, you know, she hasn't got the heart to tell him that she didn't. So she just agrees and goes, "Yeah, sure, let's go home." And,
Because, yes, how to practice your rapping skills 101. Step 1, rap yourself.
Yes, James. Yes.
Thank you.
At home, they find Cindy's mom, Betty Lou Who, played by Molly Shannon, doing a spot of decorating outside, with every single light-based appliance from inside the house, including the chandelier. Lou and Cindy help her since she wants to, you know, her house to be the best house on the street.
She finally wants to win the lights competition over her next door neighbour.
Yeah, but that goes out the window when she sees Martha May, played by Christine Bransky, basically decorating a lot better than her, as usual.
Yeah, the fucking machine.
Yeah, she then pulls out like a minigun turret and begins shooting Christmas tree lights out onto her house in a very sexual fashion.
Yes, the sound it makes is oh so sexual.
We then obviously cut inside where we see Lou get a phone call in the middle of the night from a stranger who asks him, "Is his refrigerator running?" Which he replies,
Well, no, it's like his super something or other.
It's basically, is your refrigerator running?
It's this universe's version of that.
Yeah, he's like, yes. And it's like, well, you should go catch it then. Because, you know, it's the Grinch just trolling him. And he then turns around to Max and goes, "Okay, let's go home." So yeah, they jump into a shoot and shoot off home. Mario style, of course. before landing into a rubbish pile, followed by some bags of chemical waste that he takes off home with him, since he loves it. We then got to Cindy, who sings "Where Are You Christmas?" Where are you Christmas?
That's
Something.
That is without the peaked audio.
Yes, the film has better audio work than we do.
Obviously, it's a fucking movie.
Balls dropped voice.
Thomas, and you're an internet personality. I expect better from you.
I'm sorry, James. You say something Kevin Spacey related to cheer me up.
I did not hit her. I did not.
That's not Kevin Spacey related.
I know, but it's still funny. I don't know. I don't actually know anything Kevin Spacey related.
Just say Baby Driver.
Yeah, Baby Driver.
There you go. We got him.
Call of Duty F to pay respects for Kevin Spacey. He's in jail.
But he dies in that.
Oh, does? Oh, yeah, he does. You're right. Damn. F.
Obviously, back to this film. She sings it for a while before we see the Grinch return home and get ready for sleep. Chills around a bit, throwing stuff at the picture of the mayor. He's got a target of him, so he just chucks stuff at him. He then sits there and eats while complaining about stress eating. He then yells aloud. He yells out loud about stuff, and he gets an echo back and then starts complaining that
yes, this is when
he's copying him.
Yeah, he notes he has all of the company he needs right here, and then starts talking to himself.
Yeah, and obviously calls the echo an idiot, and it yells back, "You're an idiot!" And he then whispers a loud sentence. A long sentence.
Doesn't he like actually says like I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But then this is the one time the echo changes to "You're an idiot."
Yeah, because he says like a really long sentence that I can't remember exactly, but
he starts whispering like,
by the time it bounces back,
now my words aren't going to reverberate off the walls of this cave and come back to me, but the echo just calls out,
"You're an idiot!" And he sits back in his chair, all shocked. Before he goes to bed. And we then cut to the next morning, where we see Cindy visit the Grinch's old guardians, who he refer later to as old bags. To question them on the Grinch. She shows a newspaper article of him, which makes him look like a Bigfoot in the mountains.
Yes.
Inside, obviously, they then tell us...
He was literally in the Sasquatch spotted photo pose.
That's why it instantly went, it looks like a Sasquatch.
Almost like that was the joke.
Yep.
Yeah. And we got it. We did it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
It's Gondora.
Inside, they tell a story of storks bringing babies in baskets to doorsteps. And in their case, a Grinch baby that got left in the cold since they were partying. Leave the baby outside. Let's have a little dance. They then tell her they knew he was special from the moment they saw him, since they offer him a cookie and he asks for Santa, then bites his head off and says, "Santa, bye-bye." We then cut to Cindy interviewing Martha, who talks about the Grinch in school. She says she never really cared for him since she was too busy working, but flashbacks prove otherwise. She's clearly flirting with him, messing with her hair, as you do.
Like the hair, man.
Yeah, we then see the story also told from the mayor's perspective, who explains that Martha was his girlfriend at the time. And during the flashbacks, we see that the mayor, as a child, despised the Grinch just as much as he did now, due to having Martha's affection and attention.
He was quite a chubby kid as well.
Yeah, very chubby. Reminds me of someone that we can't talk about anymore.
Also, he's like that kid from Matilda, the cake one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, he laughs at him due to his hair and having a beard at this very young age. The teacher then says, you need to make Christmas presents for someone special, ready for tomorrow. So the Grinch heads off home to make a custom angel for Martha. And
family jewel.
Yeah, where he's like, "Ooh, family heirloom," grabs a hammer and starts smashing it.
He then remembers the comments from Augustus, who's the real name of the mayor, about the beard. So he takes a shave of it, and just cuts his beard off. But we don't see it because we cut to the next morning where at school he's the last person to give his gift. But when the teacher tells him to give the gift, he refuses to show his face. So first he uses a coat rack, is it?
No, he has a plastic bag over his head.
He's sort of hiding behind one though, isn't he? If I remember
You did it in reverse order. The coat hanger's the last thing.
Did I do it in reverse order?
He comes out of the coat rack.
Yeah, he's coat rack first with the bag over his head.
Takes the bag off.
Uses his desk, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Then a book.
Mm-hmm.
Then his foot. And then removes his boot to show that he's got a really bad shave. Which, causes Augusta to yell, "What a hack job!" Which gets everyone, including the teacher, laughing. Except Martha, she's the only one not laughing.
It is quite humorous how you can see the teacher, wants to... She knows she shouldn't laugh.
But she's there, sort of giggling in her hand.
But it's so funny, she's, trying to hide it. It's like, no, I'm not laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Children bullying isn't funny. It's not encouraged in our educational system.
But she still laughs.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, she looks really sad, Martha does. Obviously, he gets really angry about them all laughing and runs away, saying he hates Christmas. And obviously,
he smashes up his
angel,
gift.
yeah. And he runs off into the mountains and stands there and looking on the town, yelling, obviously, he hates Christmas and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Before we have a decent time shift as it changed from Little Grinch to Big Grinch looking down the town. Is it at that point that mentioned his heart being 2 sizes too small? Or was that earlier on?
That was earlier on because he did the scan on his heart and down.
Yeah. When he gets home.
Yeah,
after
I thought it was. I couldn't remember.
All the debacle with Cindy is after that is when he checks his heart.
Yeah.
Isn't this the point where he's got the yellow pages?
Yeah, he's got the yellow pages out there, and he starts going through his names like, "Hate you, I despise you," and he's just saying his different degrees of hate to everyone.
For those listening into this podcast, Hayden is currently sharing gifts within our Discord.
Is she?
Yeah. Look.
I'm not on Discord.
I did the other page one. The hate one.
Oh. Okay.
He's going through the names alphabetically and either screaming to the uncaring void.
I'm sorry.
Those he hates or who he loathes entirely.
Yeah, that's basically what I just said.
Yep. I have to repeat other people and myself about 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Because assassins represent chaos and aggression, whereas the Templars represent order, and the assassins represent aggression and chaos, and the Templars represent order, whereas the assassins...
Can we kick him off this?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I need to kick him off.
No.
Can I carry on then, James?
Yeah, no, I was just waiting for you to, kick the record to stop me.
Well, we tried to. We carried on.
Yeah, it's because I like the beating. It's fine.
Okay. He then hears the town singing, so he runs back inside to take his medicine, which is a hammer to the face.
Well, yeah, he tries. He's singing along in his sleep.
That's not yet. It's a bit too.
No, not yet. Is that later?
It's in a minute. Use the hammer first, and.
Okay. I thought it was in a different order. I'm sorry.
No, I believe it's in a minute.
Okay. You proceed through that.
I believe it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I believe it's somewhere down here. You'll see. I'll see him on notes in a minute, but.
Is that bit when Cindy comes?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I'm wrong.
Telling the mayor announces the annual awards at James is Wrong award.
Does anyone want to come forth with any nominees?
James.
Basically, it's a rigged award. Just like this award towards James.
It's going
right
to
now.
James, yeah.
And he obviously asked for some nominees, to which Cindy replies, "I nominate the Grinch." And obviously this shocks everyone in the town, and the mayor's basically like, "You really want to waste your nominee on the Grinch? What's the point?" But she gives her explanation, she gives her reasoning, and the town back her.
Looks like everyone needs to be accepted at Christmas, and they're like,
Yeah.
"That's very true." Yeah, but it also says here, You're a little bitch.
Yeah, when he's got the
Yeah.
book of laws and he's
Mhm.
quoting them back to her, and then like the second point Cindy makes, he's just going through the book like, this book doesn't have any answers.
It says no Grinches because you're a little bitch. It doesn't say that. Yes, it does. You made that up. No.
No, look, it says right here.
It says right here. You can't say it, but it says right here.
It's in invisible ink. And I didn't bring my illuminating pen with me.
Then how can you read it? Shut up.
Yeah, he basically agrees to allow the nomination, but he tells them that if he doesn't show up, then it goes basically to the second choice, which is, him.
He gives an ultimatum.
Yeah, basically saying I've won. He's not coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to Cindy heading up into the mountains to tell the Grinch he has won, while he's asleep at the moment, singing the songs. But, he wakes up from this and starts complaining to himself. He goes, nah, 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 nah. I don't know that song he was singing. I can't remember.
Christmas time, mistletoe and
Yeah, sure, why not?
All I want for Christmas
is a poo.
Ooh, baby.
Obviously, when he's awake, he heads off to obviously deal with these 4 songs in his head. So Cindy gets there, knocks on the door, no answer, so she heads on in, where she finds him with his head in the middle of a monkey cymbal thing, and then that's slamming his head constantly. Drain out the sounds.
It's funny because earlier, he dragged it out and started it going, and obviously it doesn't actually show you when he's put his head in between the cymbals.
Mm-hmm.
But
he walks in and sees him doing it.
Yeah, and then has to stop because he hears her behind him, and then he breaks his monkey cymbal thing to obviously allow him to then question her on what she's doing here. And she says, "Oh, you want," but she tries to explain it, and then he's like trying to usher her out. But as soon as she says, "Oh, you won an award," he goes, "Award?" Yeah,
he has absolutely no interest in it until monetary value is mentioned.
And he's like, "Ooh." And she's like, basically has to convince him. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what convinced me. If it's like your smile or your kind heart." But then as she walks towards a trapdoor, he just pulls the lever and shoots her off. Because she didn't convince him. He just was BSing her.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get her out of his house. And Max just grabs the invitation and just looks at the Grinch like,
that she dropped on the floor as she was yeeted out of his house.
Right, she then lands in the town in like a massive pile of snow, where her dad finds her and thinks she's making snow angels. But yeah, they ain't got time for that. Ain't no got time for that. And obviously, we see the Grinch debating about actually going, and he's like, "But what do I have to wear?" Walks up to a table, tries to do that magician trick when he pulls the tablecloth off the table without losing everything. But his intention was to have it lose everything, so he just goes back and knocks it all off because he did it perfectly. And obviously, then he wrapped.
His diary.
Yeah, at first he's like going, "Oh, I'm busy, I can't really cancel that. I've cancelled it already.
I can't cancel that again."
And obviously
it's like 2 different events, or it's like 3 different events around his self-loathing.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. Well on shopping. 6:30. Did it with me. I can't cancel that again.
But then obviously he's like, "Oh, fine, I'll go. But what have I got to wear?" But basically the thing, the tablecloth around his waist, and Max barks. He's like, "What? It's not a dress. It's a kilt, you perv." But when he tears it off, we see obviously one of those things the brides have on their legs. I can't think what it's called. But, obviously, everyone knows what we sort of mean.
I can't think what it's called.
Something you tear off of your mouth.
Yikes.
Yeah. Obviously, then so it's like, "Oh, I've literally got nothing to wear." But then he hears like a sense of a yodeler. So he has a completely long hook that he uses to grab the yodeler and steal his clothes. Which is he mullers in the mirror. He's like, "I'm not going."
All of this is just such a relatable move. It's like all of his plans are just everything centered around him. And things like cancelling dinner with himself, obviously showing how he's not properly taking care of himself. So relatable. And like the whole argument he's having, where he goes like he answers his own questions about whether he's going to the ceremony or not, but then he talks himself out of it again, which is it's just so rare. So I've got nothing to wear. He finds something to wear. He's like, nope, not going.
That's it. I'm not going.
It's like whenever you make plans, like your brain's just running at 300 mile an hour. Like, oh, what if you trip and fall, and you fall onto a button that explodes and kills only you? That's going to be really embarrassing, and you're never going to want to show up in public again. Oh well, best not go. Best stay inside and sleep and miss a Chattercade podcast.
For fuck's sake, James.
You weren't close to home there, James.
It's kind of sounding like it's you.
Because why show up on a podcast? Why make people listen to your horrible voice when you can just sleep for the rest of eternity and not bother anybody with your constant breathing?
I think James having a moment, so I'm going to carry on. That's
it, I'm not going.
At the celebration, the mayor congratulates the Grinch, but he points out that he hasn't showed up, so he's like, well, it looks like I've won. Obviously this concerns Cindy. Before we cut to the Grinch, he's still debating about going before Max pulls a lever and shoots him down the same chute as Cindy went.
Because the Grinch hasn't realised that he's standing on the trapdoor.
Nope, and obviously he's complaining he's shooting away. He's like, maybe I should flip a coin.
Yeah, as he's being shot down the tube. He's still debating with himself.
Yeah, but then it's cut to the mayor, who basically says that, the award's now his. And he's like, oh, thanks everyone. But then the Grinch comes flying out, bends off a few things and comically before landing in Martha's breasts, where he says hi to her. Muffled, I might add. He's like, alright, hey Martha. And he then gets up out of the breasts, scaring everyone, before saying boo to them. And, he freaks them all out. And then obviously he walks
Which
over.
is funny, because earlier when Cindy showed up in his house, he at first was trying to scare her, but that just made her laugh. But now that he's out in Whoville, anything he does just scares the populace, whereas with Cindy it's entirely different.
Pretty much. And obviously then he walks over to the mayor. He's like, oh, I was talking about an award from his little girl, and she said something about a check. But she's like, I didn't say that. And he goes,
there's no check.
Fine. Just give me the award. But the mayor's like, well, hold on, patience. We've got your old biddies here. Raging, he's like, you two still alive?
Still alive?
Before, obviously, they dress him in a Christmas jumper and have him sit in the chair of cheers. Yeah, take him around the
square.
Like
you two old cranes are still alive, or something like that.
Something along that
line. I think the GIF has been... Oh no, that's just the Christmas t-shirt he's... the jumper, sorry, the Christmas jumper he's given. He says, I heart Xmas.
He then has to test his taste buds as he eats people's desserts, followed by sitting in the chair looking sick, before leading a conga line, which he really gets into eventually. More...
As he's like leading, he's like, I really should get going back.
Oh, what the heck. Conga.
Get straight back into the conga.
Yeah, this is obviously followed by some more food. Really, just to bite some people this time for putting the food in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the typical Christmas dinner, where it's like you're like, no, I can't eat any more, but then more food comes out, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, yeah, I'll have more.
He's then
shove it down my throat.
He's then back in the chair, bouncing around again, feeling more sick. Before we cut to him in a sack race, where he's racing against kids, and he obviously got the what's the song? I can't think of what it's called.
What is the song?
Some of Chariots of Fire, isn't it?
What is it?
Chariots of Fire, isn't it?
Chariots of...
I believe it's Chariots of Fire.
Song.
And obviously he's
looks like it. Survey says
bing.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, he wins this race, and he's celebrating everything.
Well, as he's bumping two kids out of his way, and forcing them off the track.
You see what I mean? I feel so relatable.
And
like Mario Kart style. Like he's the heavy character with all the little babby characters that he's just bumping off the track.
Battle on his fucking bike.
And then while celebrating, he wants his award, and he asks for the check again, but he's told there isn't one. He's like, oh, fine.
Still no check.
But he does have a gift, though. So the mayor hands him a gift, and he opens it up, and inside the gift, it's a shaver. It's when he gets the gift that cracks me up, when he goes, ooh, and just throws it in the air.
It's just like how he stares at it, and you can just see the non-flashbacks cover. It shows it, doesn't it?
Yeah, he hasn't been on flashbacks. So going, what a hack job!
Of all of his non-flashbacks just coming back to him, and you just see he just snaps.
Yeah, the mayor then obviously laughs at the gift. He's like, oh, good times, before he then uses his bad opportunity to propose to Martha. She looks like she wants to say no. And into the end, he's like, "Oh, here's a car paid by from the taxpayers." Goddamn government taking all my money.
Not only is it like a ring with like 3 diamonds in it, he then proceeds to show an entirely brand spanking new car. It's like, if this isn't bribery, then I don't know what is.
And obviously, she's under pressure now. Trying to think of an answer. But then the Grinch, keys the car with his fingers.
I know they say you can't buy friendship, but apparently you can buy a wife.
different religion, James. So obviously after he keys the car, he starts complaining at everyone that all basically this time of the year is to them is gifts. And, it ends up in the dump anyway, so it's basically his. And he's basically just taking the mick out of all of them. It's like, oh, you get a pony, sell it to make glue.
What doesn't he also say that he can hang himself?
Yeah, with all the toys, the neckties,
Christmas neckties.
Kids films, everyone, because this film is a PG, and yet he talks about suicide. So he then calls out Christmas for being most the worst, and basically then takes a mistletoe.
But Halloween exists,
and tells Whoville to basically kiss his ass. Which obviously shocks everyone.
Which we have seen in shots about 70 times at this point.
He basically causes Martha and a musician to collapse. He then takes the shaver to the mayor's head and says, he looks fabulous!
As demonstrated in the gift that was sent.
Before taking some moonshine from an old timer and using it to burn down the tree. The mayor then tells Hubris to do something, and he does. He shaves his head off to look like the mayor. Yeah, Grinch then tries to get a taxi, but they won't start, so he hijacks a tiny car and starts GTA joyriding around town.
Oh, Thomas, stop. I wrote again in my... I realised, like, damn, I make a GTA joke, like, every time. I was going to do it again, but you beat me to it. Also, you missed the race joke, where after the taxi didn't stop for him, he goes, it's because I'm green, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite funny. Obviously, when he's driving around town, he's destroying stuff before... He even does that ramp, doesn't he?
You did mention that this is a tiny car, right?
Yeah, it's a tiny car. It's humorous to watch. He basically ramps off over the edge of like this sort of hill, and he's flying in the air for a few seconds before eventually crashing. And he sees the fuel's leaking, and he's like, "It's gonna blow!" Runs in slow mo away.
Yeah, starts doing the action movie slow mo run away.
I think it would be really funny if that explosion was actually really tiny.
Yeah, it would have been funny.
All that. No.
I think it's also funny for that. It's that big for such a small car. That's the more of the joke.
You can see it like from like ages away, like from the mountain.
Yeah, you know what they say though. Mucker baby proud. Slow mo explosions. No, wait, there's no Megan Fox. Shit, no, he wouldn't. No, he's out. 2 out of 3. He won't have it. During the
no, Christina Barinski.
She wasn't in the scene though.
Yeah, true.
During the aftermath, the mayor then calls out the Lou family by saying he's disappointed in them and he just wants them all to get back to Christmas. Cindy then quietly apologises, and I mean quietly. I literally said while watching it. Sorry, Lucky, speak up, please.
To the microphone, please.
As the Grinch goes to leave, he sees that everyone is happy again, which really angers him, as he calls them relentless. He then shoots down his chute.
We've had a couple of times where the like Big Ben-esque like bell tower clock has been dinged with like the hours counting down to Christmas. That's when I noted that the bell toller has a bell on his head.
Yes, you did. Obviously, after he shoots away, he heads up to the mountains side again and starts yelling. Mountains.
Gotta love the mountains.
Cha-ting! He starts yelling that he knows what Christmas will bring. He then does the usual Dr. Seuss rhyme, which he calls
Yeah,
out.
he starts rhyming from like this point on.
She calls out before collapsing to the floor. He then tries to think of a way to ruin Christmas before heading inside to find Max listening and dancing to Christmas songs. This, of course, angers him and causes him to toss everything outside, including Max, which he then follows outside, where he finally gets his idea of how to ruin Christmas. Obviously, we then cut back inside, where he's making himself a Santa Claus outfit while accidentally sewing his finger to the outfit and fainting because of the sight of this. He then looks in the mirror at himself before the iconic Grinch song hits, and he starts singing it. And it's obviously shown over him creating his plan, which includes a sleigh, and the song continues over top until he becomes a test dummy and slams into a wall. He also has termites in his teeth, apparently, but we'll skip past that.
He has a very interesting and nutritious diet. Like metal nails right out of the forge, glass bottles, banana skins that were probably moldy. Oh.
Obviously, then outside we see that his sleigh is built and his plan is basically all ready. The Grinch then watches Santa and says, "Fat boy's finishing up," so he's all ready to act. But seeing Santa leave, he remembers that he has no reindeer. So he's like, "Hey, if I can't find one, well, I'll just make one." So he turns Max and smiles because he's gonna cut inside him. We see that he's put a red nose on him, and
this is when he actually casts Max for the part of Rudolph. He starts like going on about the role.
He starts running out with it.
Yeah, and he goes, "And action," and then Max literally just throws the red nose off of him, and the Grinch just jumps up, screaming, "Magnificent!
You rejected yourself because of commercialism.
Brilliant!
Why did I think of myself?
Why did I think of that?" Yeah.
It's just the fact he gives some backstory and everything that cracks me up. He's like, "Okay, set the scene." He literally just pretending to be Ron Howard. I think that's the joke.
I think it would be funny if he had like a Ron Howard like cap on. Like if the cap actually said Ron Howard instead of saying like who something.
That would have also been funny.
That would have been very funny.
I did check just in case.
So obviously then they head off outside and begin to prepare his sleigh for takeoff. And as he tries to yell the reindeer's names, the sleigh blasts off and into the sky. They go. At the start of the ride, he yells that he's going to die and basically fears for his life because his sleigh's out of control. But then, it levels out, so Max falls back in from above, and, he's like, "Phew, I almost lost my call then." Almost. He clearly lost his call. And obviously then he arrives at the first house in the town. Obviously inside the first house, we see Betty and Lou awake, and the question the sound on the roof before realising it must be Santa, so let's go back to sleep. Quickly! We're not getting robbed at all. And obviously they go back to sleep, and we then see the Grinch drop down the chimney. Breaks the fourth wall by speaking to the narrator, saying, "Speak quietly."
I was waiting for that, honestly.
He then releases some moths to eat some of the deco inside, before using a large Hoover-like device to suck everything up the chimney, before heading into the kitchen and stealing all the food from there. He then tries to steal a tree, but he gets caught by Cindy because it's obviously she's woke up now. If he wants some water, he has to pretend to be a Santa for real, and he does with a nat 20 deception. D&D joke there for you, James.
Woo!
He claims that one of the lights is busted, which he clearly breaks himself. So
he's gonna take it back to his workshop to
fix it up and bring it back to her. And she's like, "So what is Christmas really about?" And he bursts out the tree yelling vengeance.
Vengeance!
Before saying presents, which saddens Cindy.
Yep, Christmas for demon hunters.
and she's afraid of this fact.
Just the whole point is Cindy has been like rejecting the whole point of Christmas,
Yeah.
and, like, doubting why it exists. And obviously, this is just reinforcing it for her. But she believes that it's about happiness and the family and all that disgusting stuff.
Pretty
so
much.
you guys are not upset at me when I forget to buy you things.
No.
Yes, we are. We really are.
Hey, just look on the bright side. You two weren't the ones I bought socks for the 1 year that weren't even the right size.
You don't even wear socks.
I'm not wearing socks. I'm a little bear.
Well, then I know what to get you for Christmas.
No, I've got about a drawer full of socks. 2 drawers to be exact. But we already had this discussion, James, in Satisfactory. Socks are a bad Christmas present.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh.
So is Link's Africa if you talk to Connor.
Link to Africa, cats,
And
underwear and
socks.
socks are all out.
I have no idea. I don't watch any of the videos because Tom's quite boring, so that's why I have no idea what's going on.
Link's Africa's a joke from a stream, not a video.
I don't care.
We're going to carry on, okay?
You fucking carry on.
Yeah.
Let's
try to bury that.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to bury Hayden in a minute. So he gets her some water and sends her off to bed. But as she leaves, she tells him to not forget the Grinch. That explains everything. What's bad about him? She says like, oh, he smells. He's mean and whatnot, but he still deserves a gift. He feels happy for a few seconds before she leaves, and then he's like, huh, bad dread of character. Since he just steals everything and then runs off. Even a mouse, he steals a mouse. And he then obviously goes house to house and steals other gifts and even sucks up a cat, which shoots at and gets his face. He then visits Martha's house and watches her sleeping, and then breaks into the mayor's house.
Oh yeah,
and
because when he does that, it's fine.
And while he's sleeping, the mayor asks, he sleep talks like, "Oh, Martha, have you been kissed by a man who's lost his tonsils twice?" And the Grinch's like, "Oh no, silly." But he offers a kiss in return.
Oh yeah, that's from when who is it you were talking about, the director? I don't remember names. Whoever Clint Howard was playing.
Yeah, Hubris.
When he was doing the announcement for the award that was obviously going to the mayor, he was listing off. It's like, oh, it's such a great person who's had their tonsils out twice. He's like listing all these nice things, and then he just randomly says that they've had their tonsils out twice.
And obviously they brought it back again here. So the Grinch, obviously, in his female voice, offers a kiss in return. But, grabs Max, lifts his ass up, and makes the mayor kiss his ass, which makes Max's eyes bulge out before scraping his backside across the floor. The classic, dog thing to do. Because he's got worms. The Grinch then continues house to house, getting attacked by another cat. Which having
cat times 2.
We then have obviously like an image of his crazy face faded
but it's
over the
same
screen.
Cat though is the thing.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the exact same cat.
It's come back for revenge. And,
he just opens a cupboard and there's the exact same cat that just leaps right at him.
While going to the mountains, the sleigh breaks down, so the Grinch forces Max to drag the sleigh up the mountain. And while at the top, they look down the town, and the Grinch says they are all going to cry now. But down in the town, obviously we do see everyone come out slightly sad. We then see the town's only cop run out saying it's embarrassing, I got robbed. And obviously he drives away. We see a rope tied to the back of his car. And then obviously when he drives off, the rope pulls on the mayor's bed, obviously which is attached to, gets dragged alongside him. And obviously he reaches the populace, and with a very Canadian response, he's trying to calm everyone down. And the mayor then wakes up and he's like, oh, no, it's the mayor. It's the mayor. And he complains about, obviously, letting the Grinch into the town was going to ruin Christmas, and it has, clearly. And he's like, oh, all the blame's on you, Cindy, and I hope you're proud of yourself. And her dad then steps up and he's like, I'm proud of her if she's not. It's obviously causing the mayor to confront him. But, but Lou basically shows his Christmas spirit and says the true meaning of Christmas. And then obviously hugs his family, causing everyone to be happy, except the mayor, who basically walks off from them.
True meaning of Christmas is arguing with your family.
Pretty much. It wouldn't be a Christmas if there's no arguments.
It's arguing, watching Strictly for some reason. eating food and falling asleep.
Cindy then wanders off to the trash chute and shoots off to the Grinch's mountain to find him. And obviously on top of the mountain, though, the Grinch attempts to push the presents off the side until he hears all the singing from below. Fa-lu-ra. I don't know the rest.
Pennsylvania.
Obviously this caused him to look down on the town, and it's like, what is wrong with them? But then, obviously this singing is, obviously when he's angry, we see Cindy finally make it to the top. But obviously he's still trying to think of why they're so happy, but then something clicks. Something that's never clicked before, which is Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe it means something a little bit more. See, I rhyme then.
Magnificent!
He then has a Hayden heart attack and starts stumbling around before he falls down, and his heart finally starts beating.
I'm feeling.
This causes him to ugly cry while contemplating what is happening to him. His son then comes out and he says, "I feel all toasty inside. I'm leaking." Yeah, and he confesses his love to Max, and the two have a little hug and a kiss. But he pushes the dog off because one step at a time. The sleigh then suddenly starts to move, causing the Grinch to realise day 4. The presents have gone. Oh no! I better save Christmas. So runs up and does a slow-mo jump, and obviously in his slow-mo jump, he misses completely. But he's managed to crawl his way to it, grab it, tries to pull it, realises it's way too heavy for him. But just before it goes over, he contemplates letting it go, since it's only toys, you can fix it, it's fine. But then Cindy appears and he's like, uh-oh, I got a reason there. He starts having a little smile and he's like, I gotta save Christmas, but I've also got to save this little girl who's gonna die. So with all this motivation, and as I say, the fact that the girl's gonna die.
That's a Telltale Games level decision. I save Christmas, save the little girl.
You sound like you've been watching too much. It says that you've been watching too much Heroes. Save your cheerleader, save the world. And obviously he uses all his mighty strength to lift the sleigh over his head, to the praise of Cindy and the dancing of Max. Cindy and Max then ride the sleigh down with the Grinch skiing behind them for a while, doing some tricks until he lands in the sleigh. And he's like, "Scooch over, I'm driving." And obviously he starts going down, and obviously we see a handbrake break when he tries to slow down, since Cindy's like, "Oh, we're going too quick." And he's like, "Okay, I'll just slow us down." Oh no, it's broke. We're going to die. And then she starts complaining, and he's like, "Don't worry though. Even though we'll be horribly mangled, there should be no sad faces on Christmas."
Yeah.
That's one thing she said to a kid before they're about to die. Obviously, then we cut down into the town to see the entire, town folks see this sleigh barreling towards them. So Betty grabs some lights and tells them off to help her. So they act as like a brake, similar to like what they used to do in the aircraft carriers when they put the wire across to try and stop a plane if it's going too quick to land. And then obviously it sort of slows it down, but Lou stands in front of it and I start yelling at him to move. He's like, "Yeah, Dad, move!"
I got no insurance.
Was that when I made the James joke? I thought so.
Yep.
Obviously, it does eventually stop.
When Martha actually receives a compliment from what's her face?
Martha.
They both called Martha?
No.
Betty?
Martha's the one that gives the compliment.
Was it Martha that gave? I thought it was Martha the one received. No, you're right. Martha was giving the compliment.
Let's carry on, G. James.
Yep. Proceed.
Obviously, the sleigh eventually stopped, but not because of Lou. But either way, he stands tall and he's delighted to see his daughter fine. The Grinch is all happy and everything. And obviously, with his family reunited, the Grinch tells the cop that he stole Christmas. He's like, "I'm the Grinch that stole Christmas, so arrest me." And the mayor comes up, he's like, "Yeah, arrest him. He just said he stole Christmas, so get him out of here."
I heard what he said. He said he's sorry. When James sneaks into people's houses with all the kids, now he gets arrested. It's prison. It's wrong.
Obviously, this angers the mayor, who's interrupted by Martha sliding down the Santa's sack. Adjusting her boobs when she lands, because, sex appeal on a PG movie. The mayor, obviously, she's like, "Oh, here you go, here's your ring back. I love someone else." The Grinch looks around before realising it's him. this obviously caused him to celebrate.
Yeah, Martha's like staring at him as he's standing in the middle of the crowd. He's like looking around, like pointing himself, like, me? You looking at me?
And obviously he bolts over celebrating. He's like, "Oh, no hard feelings to the mayor," but then starts cheering in his face. And Cindy then obviously pulls the Grinch over and it's like, "Oh, we're good now. We're good now. We're all okay."
Give a little kiss.
Give him a cheeky kiss. And they all start singing again. And everyone in the town obviously holds hands while they're singing. The Grinch obviously sings gibberish since he doesn't know the words. We then cut to the Grinch's cave, which is being used to house everyone for Christmas dinner, which is basically where the movie ends. The Grinch stole, then saved Christmas, and he was sorry.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's the live action adaptation of the Grinch. Ready for the overalls? Mine's quite quick, to be fair, because I couldn't think of anything. Overall, for me, it's a very fun movie. It's got a good cast, led by the comedy genius that is Jim Carrey. He was made for this role. I don't think I could picture anyone else in this role. I know the one who is Dr. Seuss's wife suggested like a few people, and Jim Carrey was one of the suggestions. I know someone like Jack Nicholson was another one, but I still can't see anyone but Jim Carrey as the Grinch. He's both physical acting and verbal acting that sells it for me. Obviously, he's constant like creepy ass smile, his hand movements, his just physical. It just sells it, and obviously how he acts, like when he's obviously just saying something. I really can't see anyone else but Jim Carrey as the Grinch, which is sad to say because Benedict Cumberbatch did an okay job, but I don't think he could pull off a live action version like Jim Carrey could.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. is the only person that can play Iron Man.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like how Robin Williams is the true genie.
Obviously. Obviously, this is what sells the movie overall. Since apart from the scenes focusing on Cindy, most of this movie does focus on the Grinch. So to get someone to basically carry a movie like this, it's hands down the right choice. Because as I said to James, I watched the animated one just not long, like a few hours ago, and most of that movie is like split into two. It's like half the Grinch, half Cindy. She's got more to do than just obviously just randomly appear every now and again. But as this, it's full Grinch, like 90% Grinch, 10% Cindy. So they did the right thing, casting Jim Carrey. The cinematography is good. I think it's decent cinematography. The CGI is a bit.
There wasn't a lot to your conclusion.
I sort of said some stuff that's not my conclusion, but the CGI is a bit iffy at times. But 2000 movie, am I right? The few songs in the movie are very nice songs, to give the characters some more emotional value, especially Cindy, since she's the one that's trying to also carry this movie, but only appears every now and again. So you gotta give her a sing song every now and again, get that singing career off the ground. The soundtrack is very nice and Christmassy, so it's good for this film. The humour doesn't fall flat for me. It's humorous from start to finish, and every joke lands. I don't see a joke that doesn't land. And this movie is pretty much a tradition of my Christmas, and is easily my favourite rendition of the Grinch story. So to cut this, what was meant to be short, even shorter. My rating is 9 out of 10. It's a festive movie that ticks all the boxes for me.
I agree. My overall is going to be quite quick. Now, as you know, I hate Christmas. I hate Christmas films. But I like this one because it's a Christmas film about someone hating Christmas. And I like it. And unlike the one previous one, watched the Muppets one, I never watched the Muppets one, but I've watched this as a kid. So there's a nostalgia side to it. And I do like the film. The comedy is pretty good. Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey. He's amazing at pretty much everything. I mean, like you said, there's no one else who could be in that role because he's like one of those unique actors that probably never exist ever again. That unique. And the other thing I didn't really like about it was some of the transitions. They were a bit weird. And also didn't really like the cartoony side when they did the dog. Get the ass kicked in the eyes. I didn't quite like that. But apart from that, I liked the film. It was good. It's no Dora, but it's good. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Yes, an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, the dog eyes were. Ugh.
The only joke that I felt that didn't hit, but the rest, I think that's more of a choice of the editor and not because of Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey is fucking amazing.
They just consulted Jim Carrey on everything.
They should have, yeah.
This is just run through the checklist of what comes under a James conclusion. I pretty much wholeheartedly agree with everything that's. Sorry, I said wholeheartedly. I do that a lot.
You're a whore.
Has already been said. There was some janky CGI, yes, but there wasn't too much of it, and it is from 2000. I'm trying to remember what else I agreed with now. There wasn't the musical aspect of the film wasn't overbearing. Like with some films, it can kind of just feel like there's been one line since the last song, and now you've started singing again. Why? So the fact that there was only like 2 or 3 songs, especially since the second of those songs is "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," is very welcoming. I welcome that. Jim Carrey is perfect for the role, but I must admit I can't binge watch Jim Carrey because eventually I can just feel every single one of my brain cells just jumping around my brain like he does, and just makes me want to strangulate myself.
Beat it anyways.
More so than usual. It makes me want to grab all of those Christmas ties that the Grinch has been getting and actually make the rope. So yeah, I think that my overall rating for the film comes to a 6.9876543214, rounded up to a 7.
Okay, so that gives it a Chat Cave overall rating of exactly 8 out of 10. Exactly.
It would have been a 10 out of 10 if it wasn't Christmas.
So my question of the day is, what other well-known characters do you think Jim Carrey would be suited for, or would be able to pull off, since you wouldn't think he'd be suited for Eggman in Sonic, but he damn did pull him off. And not in a sexual way, he pervs.
You might not have found it sexual.
Batman.
So James said Joker, the animated Joker.
Okay, yeah, thanks for stealing my answer.
Sorry.
I guess I'll go with my backup answer then. I would love to see him as the Mask.
Fuck's.
Oh, I know. I'd like to see him as Ace Ventura. I think it'd work as that character.
Talking about, I think it'd be great as Mr. Popper and Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Or how about a film centered about someone who has to say like yes to everything? Perfect in that.
I got a better one. One when he's really dumb and he's got a friend who's really dumb.
That makes it a sequel for that one as well.
What if he has to answer to everything with smoking?
This question got derailed very quickly.
But no, my actual answer is I think he could really pull off a cartoon Mark Hamill style Joker.
Yeah. I mean, he could actually probably do like a proper Joker as well. Like if they,
I say he can be serious at times.
Can go quite dark. Obviously, he did that quite dark, like serious film before. Remember the one where he forgot all about this relationship he had.
Yeah.
So he can do the serious film pretty good.
I think he basically pull off both, pretty much.
If he can switch between, it would work. Yeah.
Okay.
Suppose, yeah.
Wow, that's the first time anyone's ever said that.
That's true. Apart from me, says he wants to kill himself. Yeah, we agree with you.
Okay. So a quick reminder that this is the last podcast to count for the Chat Cave Awards this year. It will be voted for internally since it's the first year, and make it run smoothly. It's easier to do it internally. Next week's movie won't count to this year's, but will count towards next year's. It's basically the Smash Bros of or Cyberpunk of the Game Awards. Comes out after the cut-off point. So next week's movie is the next year.
Wait, Cyberpunk comes out?
It's supposed to be.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be for the past eternity.
It's supposed to be the 10th. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's got 4 days left to delay.
Wow, date the video.
Oh, sorry.
So that's it.
It has 4 metrics of unit.
Too late, James. Too late. So that's it for Chat Cave Podcast. Join us next week, as I believe James is sticking around because he wants to do with the Christmas ones.
Depends. Will I be asleep?
50-50. But either way, we'll be discussing the classic.
Oh, flip a coin!
We're discussing.
Christmas film, though.
Technically it's not, and it is at the same time. It is and not. It's both. Fucking thing. I'll hold it. It is and it isn't, and I kind of just put it into Christmas because it's a tradition for me to watch it at Christmas. So, fuck it. We are discussing A Nightmare Before Christmas. But until then, I've been your host, Dragon King Thomas Hughes.
And I cannot wait for the next one because finally, a Christmas film that is not a Christmas film. Perfect.
And
I'm just happy to be here.
thanks for joining us, James, and being awake this time.
You are welcome.
And this has been Chat Cave Podcast. So, don't be a Grinch after this crap fest of a year. You've had basically have a Merry Christmas. I'm looking at you, Hayden, you Grinch. Peace out.
Let's hope that 2021 is better.
Go well, self-pity.
Peace.